Could you give us a brief instructional as to the method and how that would look for someone who wants to like try it right now and see if they can feel those forces that you're talking about?
Yeah. There's a couple of ways we attack it. Like with certain case histories, say someone has like an issue with the back of the neck or back of the head with surgeries and stuff. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't like recommend they try the way I'm going to say now. But there's other ways of doing it. But if you've never had any issues with your neck, what you can try is, so this is the SEM muscle, right? Plain as day. It connects from your sternum and clavicle into your mastoid process behind your ear. So you can feel behind your ear, there's this process, there's this lump. Now this doesn't actually exist when you're a baby. It's actually basically, there's a lot of theory behind this. But the fact is that like when you're a baby, there's basically no mastoid process. Your mastoid process and the front of your skull develop basically simultaneously, as if they're moving together. So this process develops over the years from the repeated pulls from your mastoid process to your sternum. So what you want to do is you want to actually feel what the motion of the sternocleidomastoid SCM muscle is. Okay. What the function of this muscle is mechanically is, if you can picture, this is one attachment point, this is the other. If it shortens, my head gets pulled like so. That is the function of this muscle. So if I breathe in and I'm pulling my chest up, I'm going to have a reciprocal pull down on the temporal bone, which, according to cranial osteopathy and cranial sacral therapy, is basically how the temporal bone is supposed to move. It's supposed to do this sort of movement. So what you can try is first to just relax your head forward. And then when you breathe in, feel that your head naturally gets pulled back just a little bit. That it just naturally gets. On every inhale, you have just a slight tug back. As the sternocleidomastoid engages on the inhale. If you can feel the tug behind your ears, that's ideal.
I can feel it behind my ears. There's a subtle tightening that happens right in the area behind the ear if you actually kind of allow yourself to listen and feel for it.
And your training helps, as you've done training, which is very meditative. If you're a person who meditates, you'll get this a lot quicker. And if you put your hand just on your sternum, like on your chest, lightly, very lightly, that gives it a little bit more resistance to the inhale. So might make the tug a little bit stronger.
I feel it a little bit.
That's the tug that you feel behind your ear and this from every inhale. Exactly. And we would try this in various postures, and we would keep drilling this until it becomes strong, until that muscle fully wakes up.
Which muscle? The sternocleidomastoid?
Yeah, the sternocleidomastoid. And we're looking at this from an anatomy trains type of perspective as well, that you have fascial chains essentially running through your body. Okay. So like this is a sternocleidomastoid, but it's like the neck muscular chain, like the side of the neck. And when you feel that tug behind your ear, it actually stretches out further. It goes up past your temporal bone, and it goes into your parietal and your occipital. And it ends up in this area, essentially, opening up the back of the skull to a very strong degree. Now, if that's a very light force, right? You know, when you have craniosacral therapy, they barely touch the skull. It's very, very light forces. Whereas we're actually putting like a pound, at least, of force probably more when you really, if you want to lay down, not right now, but like the thing is when you're sitting up, if you're practicing this for the person watching, if you're practicing this sitting up, your sternocleidomastoid is currently engaged in a postural function, right? So if you want to, if we lay down, it's no longer being used to hold up your head and neck, so you may be able to feel it better.
Mm-hmm.
I want people and yourself to practice that to the point where it becomes strong, to the point where you actually start getting rotation. And just with that lesson alone, I did it with PowerPoints and stuff, but like pretty much everyone that was in the group session got to the point of, well, I haven't heard back from everyone yet, but most of the people in the group session got to the point of being able to hear audible cracks and pops in their skull. And in a good way, not like, oh, my TMJ is crunching, like in a good way, like that felt proper adjustments.